tone. That was a Strat up there at the front. That was a Strat. And I was playing with my fingers, and you get that kind of that warmer, fleshy sound on the fingers on an otherwise brighter Git fiddle. And that's a really good tactic. Well, hello there, my name is HW. I forgot to do that, and we're here in Rig Manager. Look at this, look at the editor. It's beautiful, it's all around us. It's great. Let's talk about what we're playing there. In the last video, we talked about some of the things we were adding to Tone Tools, and we've added them in there. You can go get these, or you can get them on the site where you see this video. You can download these new Tone Tools. And it's a really cool, we're doing a couple things here. Last video, we talked about the 68 Purple Plexi and how to get really great rock leads. And we're gonna do a similar thing here for bluesy leads. But what we've done is we've changed the guitar and we've changed the profile. Now we're working with the String Singer NBR3. Now this is a, this amplifier was a clone of John Mayer's #2 Dumble Steel String Singer. And it was cloned, it was circuit traced in Japan, and then cloned, and then created, and I own one of these amps. And NBR2 is the normal channel, so no FET input, bright on the rock EQ setting, 3. This is kind of as going as this thing gets, so it's not very dirty, but it's very like harmonically rich. Now the EQ, there's a lot of bass in this sound, and so by itself, that sounds really good, but one thing we've talked about before is this lead EQ. So one of the things you were hearing there was this lead EQ. What I'm actually doing is lowering some of this low end and boosting a little bit of high end while still having a little bit of high cut to not let it get too crazy. Now for an amp like this that's really high headroom, this by itself is gonna sound a little bit thin, but in the mix, it's gonna stop us from getting this frequency stack that can sometimes result in a little bit of muddiness. So check it out right here. Here is without the lead EQ. Here's just the profile by itself, and then here's with the lead EQ. Okay, very cool. Now it might sound a little bit thinner than you would want by itself. And again, if we're talking about solo guitar or a really small 3-piece, we might want to let the guitar stay full all the time. That's sort of the John Mayer kind of sound. That's a lot of the Stevie Ray Vaughan sound. You know, him in Double Trouble, he had a lot of room to be the low end of that band. You know, not the bass, but he had a lot of room in the low mids and even the lows, you know, to really just be powerful and strong. Well, when we're talking about just EQ in a mix that might have a bunch of other stuff, you know, that might get a little bit. So now listen to this lead EQ. When it's in a mix, it's not gonna sound thin anymore. Check it out. Interesting, right? When I hear that guitar sound, I don't perceive it to have low end cut out. I just perceive it to be a nice lead guitar voice. It sounds just like it kind of did before, but it comes through a little nicer. What we're doing is we're avoiding this frequency stack that can get a little too muddy and just create a lack of clarity. Generally, when you're adding a bunch of instruments together, if you don't need the frequency, you don't need it. You're allowed to get rid of it, and that can overall result in a clearer mix. So let's leave the lead EQ on for the remainder of these examples, and let's go look at the green screen. Now, in the Tone tools, we do have something called Green Boost, and that's a little bit different because what I've done here with this green screen is I've taken the drive down to 0, that's normal, but I took the mix down to 50%, from like 60 or 70 to 50%. So now we are getting as much of the clean guitar voice as we are the dirtier guitar voice from the green screen, but we are boosting still 2.5 decibels. So that green scream is still coming out, but on the decay, what's happening is the green scream is going to come down, and we almost are like letting some of that clean sound come through. The green scream is still very in your face. It's still very rock, and we even could get cleaner than this if we wanted to. But check out this example. This is with the green scream, kind of acting like the green scream boost from the Tone tools. Okay, very cool. I like that a lot. Now, let's copy that same green screen, put it over here. I've actually upped the mix a little bit to make it a little dirtier because what I'm gonna do is add this Klon EQ. Well, what does the Klon EQ do? Well, overall, we're taking out bass from the bottom, of the mix here. But what this Klon EQ does is adds back in a little of the low end that the green screen might be taking out, and it also is adding some different mid-range. So here we see it's adding 2.5. That's actually like treble. It's adding a lot of these upper mids at 1.25. 1250 hertz, 1250 hertz. So it's making it voice more like a Klon. And in a way, that could make us sound a little cleaner. Now, the other thing I'm doing is now I'm gonna be using my fingers, and you're gonna hear how that also, the lack of that harder pick attack, adds to a little more of a fatter, fleshier sound, and it kind of results in a cleaner, throaty sound, but you might not perceive as much actual breakup because without using that hard pick, it just stays kind of warm and throaty, and it's a beautiful sound. It's very much like the Mayer kind of sound, you know? A lot of that is fingers being used. Check that out. Now, to me, that's really the example. That is really the lovely sort of bluesy tone that I love having. And you pick up a guitar like Goldie and just sort of play it all around and really let your fingers do the speaking for you. Having the flesh and then being able to pull out a pick, you know, maybe you hold a pick and then you pocket the pick in your hand like that, and then you can go here and, you know, do all the stuff you want to do. It gives you a lot of different ways to express yourself, you know. You can be with the fingers and then just go grab that pick right away. And it's really a lovely way to play the guitar. And with this Klon style EQ, it gives you that Mayer-esque, just like beautiful, open, clean, but it's kind of harmonically distorted kind of sound. It's really a lovely sound. I hope this has been helpful. This is how I look at getting like a good bluesy kind of lead tone. And yeah, we'll have this jam track ready for you guys also, which is a special treat in just a day or two. So I've been HW. Thank you so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. HW and Goldie out.